So let's just go into the Green Bay Packers. Just from what you've seen week 2, just what do you think the state of the Packers are right now?
I'll tell you what, just being around here, like in this area and kind of getting the like local scubba, everybody has kind of just been like, kind of been on edge since the end of that Brazil game, right? Like, I think it was disappointing that they lost because I think, and everyone here definitely saw that they could win the game. They were settling for field goals in the red zone early in the game, and then, uh, you know, all the yardage they gave up. Also, it's Brazil, the field, all that. There was all those storylines, but I think people could have taken a loss to the Eagles. What was really hard to swallow was the game ends and you have no idea if uh, how bad the injury is with Jordan Love when he went down, and there was speculation going crazy. There was the crazy optimist, the crazy like, oh, it's his ACL, he's done for the year, or career altering injury, like the best and the worst. I actually got to be there at Austin Straubel Airport, the airport that's like 6 minutes from here, the Green Bay Airport. Special flight from Sao Paulo to Green Bay. That doesn't just happen, right? um, Green Bay doesn't have those kind of flights usually. I got to be there at the airport, and I actually got the video of him getting off the plane. It went crazy viral. Like ESPN asked me for it, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, you name it. It was on Fox Sports, all that. NFL Network asked me. That was really cool. But the video of him getting off the plane was so like I could see then just how anxious everyone was. Like, how is he walking? And there were like 100 fans also there too. Like they were tracking the flight with me, except I was getting paid to be there and they weren't, which is the crazy part about the job. No, like literally, my shift was split that day because we didn't have a 6 o'clock that day. So I ended up going to the airport from like 10 to almost 2, and that's like also like down the road from our station. Like everything here is so close to each other. Um, and so I mean, you could just feel how anxious it was. And then the news came out that it wasn't an ACL tear, the meniscus is fine. It was like an MCL sprain, and the whole area was just like, oh my god, we still have a shot. And then they were like, the fact that he wasn't like put on IR, and then the fact that, okay, we got this guy Malik Willis who got here literally like 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. He's going to lead us to a win against the Colts. Like, really? Okay. And they did it. Like LaFleur, you got to give him a lot of credit. He game planned the hell out of that game. They ran the ball crazy well. Willis only had like 2 completions on 14 attempts. They had like, I think 230 something rushing yards in the first half or something like that. Like, that's absurd. And then their defense, they got a new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, who was the head coach at Boston College. He came in, and that was like a big like validation for him, only allowing 10 points. They still had a shot to win it late in the game, but they pieced it all together and they won the game. So now, I don't know if you saw, but Jordan Love was at practice today. That was the other piece of news. Like, the week-to-week news here is so much more dialed in now to start the season because everyone wants constant updates on Love, right? They just gave him the contract for the season. He's the guy. You go from Favre to Rodgers to Love. Like, he's next, right? And he's now. And for him to go down and maybe the season's over, that was scary. I'll tell you that. It's really scary. So until he's back on the field, playing well, playing like, who we know Jordan Love's going to be, I think it will take until then for people around here to like, okay, we're back on track, relax a little bit. But even then, it might take some time. Might need to see it for a couple of weeks. But I think that those have been the emotions that largely dominated the first couple of weeks of the season.
I saw a report that Love was a limited practice today over there. It was limited practice at practice today, and just you kind of mentioned already, kind of like it was pins and needles when they got off the plane just to see Jordan Love. So let's go to Malik Willis. Now we really don't know much about him in the NFL. He was with the Titans earlier, but then Will Levis came in, took the spot, and now that we have Malik Willis, he got the win. It wasn't really that pretty from his side, but he got the win. A win's a win in the NFL. It looks like
it was pretty here. It was pretty here. They had more points than the Colts, and that's what mattered. They look really pretty here.
And just the fact that how you mentioned they went more with the run game. Just having Josh Jacobs here now, we know how it was for him going into last offseason, not getting that deal from the Raiders, now getting his deal with the Packers. Just how much do you see them riding that Josh Jacobs train going forward until Jordan Love does come back?
I mean, if Love isn't playing and you're starting Malik Willis, like the run game is the best chance to win the game from an offensive standpoint for the Packers. I mean, they basically admitted that, after the Colts when they were like, yeah, we were trying to run the ball a lot. Now Love is practicing, and if they like all the reports around Love's status were saying like they weren't just like like the gamesmanship, right? Like, oh, Love could like the week leading up to the Colts game, like, oh, he could play. Like, okay, maybe they knew he wasn't going to play, but maybe there was like there's the chance of him actually playing was apparently like not bullshit. Like, sorry, I don't know if I can swear, but it wasn't made up. It wasn't made up. So the fact that he's already practicing now, and it's Wednesday, like he could play. So like if Jordan Love is playing, like I'm not just saying this, but like in terms of the top 4 receivers on any given team, I don't know if the Packers can be matched. Like in terms of this pure depth of talent between Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, who just blew up in week 1, and Dontavian Wicks. Those are like 4 uber talented, crazy talented receivers who would be racking up a ton of numbers on most other teams. But last year, like it was spread out so well, and they're all good at different things. So if Love that's the thing that's so dangerous about the Packers. If Love is healthy, like they are good enough that with Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, they had a talented rookie, Marshawn Lynch, who they just Marshawn Lloyd. His name is Marshawn Lloyd. He was a 3rd-round running back. They just had to put him on IR. He was really explosive. A.J. Dillon, they had to put on season-ending IR before the season even started. So they had all these running back options, but still, Emmanuel Wilson, really talented backup. I saw him a lot in camp. He looked pretty good. And I was like, who's this 31 guy? And then, of course, Jacobs, like, he could do, like, he ran the ball a lot with the Raiders, of course. Like, as you know, he won a rushing title. But he's also really talented as a receiving back. So if Jacobs will be the focal point of a run-heavy offense with no Love, but also he will be like a wild card in an offense where Jordan Love can spread it out and has 4 uber talented receivers, a couple of young quality tight ends that like this offense can really do anything with Love. It's still an offense that could, claw and, backyard fight you to a win like they did against the Colts. But you put Love in there, and I mean, the ceiling is competing for the Super Bowl.
Now let's flip to the opposite side of the ball. We got the defense, who got some stellar ballers on them. You got Jair Alexander at the corner. You have Rashawn Gary. You have all these type of players that the Packers do have. And just what do you think? How do you think they're going to be going forward? Because you kind of have to rely on them more to just get the ball, get the more possessions to the offense.
Well, they switched their defense with, again, their new defensive coordinator, right? Like that was the big coaching hire, Jeff Hafley, of the defense, and they switched to a 4-3. They have more guys up front now. Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness, who was a first-round pick a couple of years ago, Quay Walker, linebacker. They got some good pressure on Richardson in week 2. And then the Evan Williams, rookie safety, Eric Stokes, like guys who can really help in the secondary. I mean, it's almost like Keyshawn Nixon, another guy who I interviewed as well. They have so much talent. Like they have a lot of talent on that defense, and they have a lot of strong young players on that team with some veterans. Kenny Clark, who's been there for like 8-9 years at this point, maybe 10 years. Defensive tackle. Like they have a lot of talent on that team. And like last year, they weren't a highly rated defense, and everyone thought they played down to their talent level. Week 1 was not great against the Eagles. They showed a really encouraging sign. I mean, the Packers don't win without their defense. I mean, that they held the Colts offense I think a really talented quarterback in Richardson, running back in Taylor, good receivers, held them to 10 points. And took the ball away. Xavier McKinney, forgot to mention him. Big safety signing this offseason. They just have a lot of talent. And so if they can do what they did against the Colts and replicate something like that going forward, that could be one of the best defenses in the league, which has not been the case the last couple of years.